The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Some BDO account holders have reportedly lost thousands of pesos due to unauthorized transfers. Let's talk about this some more with tech expert Art Samaniego, who joins us now live via Zoom. Good afternoon, Art. Some of these victims are claiming that they did not click any phishing or smishing links, and they did not receive any OTPs or one-time passwords, and that there was someone or telling them that someone was trying to log into their account, so they were basically clueless. How could have this been possible, what with two-factor authentication being the norm these days?
So if this is the case, it means that there is really a data breach on BDO.
All right, so some people are also saying on social media that this could be an inside job. Would this be the same thing as a data breach?
No, I don't think so. Maybe it's not an inside job, but all information that we have points to a data breach, because there was no text messages or information sent to you or an OTP sent to the account owners before their accounts were debited.
Right. So how serious now is this data breach, Art, and what is the likelihood of, possibly tracking down any of the cyber criminals behind this? Can you talk us through how this data breach could have happened?
Well, the problem is, according to our sources, the money from BDO, which were transferred to Union Bank, were already converted to Bitcoin. So malabo na talagang ma-trace back, malabo na makuha.
All right, and this kind of pattern or this modus, Art, have we observed this happen before? Maybe not specifically with banking or not specifically with BDO, but have IT experts such as yourselves observed this happening before?
Well, this has been happening. This kind of scam has been happening this year. So people complain to BDO, but BDO always tell them, no, you have exposed your personally identifiable information, you have exposed your login credentials, and you have shared your OTP. So this is not the fault of the bank. It's your fault because you allowed scammers to trick you into believing that you are transacting to the bank. So this has been happening before, but it was only last Saturday that the number of victims were really nag-surge siya sa dami.
All right. So can this in any way be be blamed, so to speak, on outdated mobile banking systems? Because you're right, banks always tell us that they always constantly upgrade their systems and their securities hanggang sa yun nga, nagkaroon na nga ng two-factor authentication, right? Can we still rely on the old setup of two-factor authentication, meaning by receiving OTPs? Because with this data breach, it seems like this can be overridden. So what do we do from here?
Well, for now, BDO is doing something to fix the issue. Also, OTP over SMS is not reliable.
Right. There's
so
also
banks need to upgrade their systems.
All right. There is also this new kind of OTP where it's kind of like the banking app that generates the OTP for you, and you don't receive it anymore via SMS. Would that be a safer form of getting a one-time password instead?
Yes, it's safer versus doing it via SMS.
All right.
So biometric is safer. The multi-factor authentication key is safer versus the one that it's being done now through SMS.
All right, so having said all of that, Art, what would be the advice to the public starting now? I, of course, changed my passwords. Should everyone now go for multi-factor authentication?
So first, it's almost Christmas, and cyber criminals are out there waiting for you to commit that simple mistake of clicking that link or answering that question. So let's all be careful in transacting or engaging with these unsolicited emails and unsolicited messages. So mag-ingat po tayong lahat sa paggamit ng mga social media and internet to transact.
All right, with regard to passwords naman, is there anything specific that people should do?
For passwords, your password should be not less than 8 characters. Pero the safer way now is to make a passphrase instead of a password. A passphrase is like a password, but made up of words separated by space. So it's passphrase. Also, always use, when applicable, always use multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication because it's another layer of security to your account. Kahit manakaw yung password mo, if you're using multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, your account will be safe. The cyber criminals could not take over your account.
All right, thank you so much for that piece of advice. We should do that to all our passwords right now, and for your insights and time as well this afternoon. Thank you so much, Sir Art Samaniego, tech expert. In other news, the Comelec is uncertain whether the list of official candidates for the 2022 polls will be released as scheduled on December 15. Comelec spokesperson James Jimenez said they will first resolve all pending cases against the candidacy of certain people. The poll body's second division earlier denied all motions for intervention on the original petition challenging the candidacy of presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos. The division also said this is to prevent any further delay in resolving the main petition against Marcos Jr.
I don't know that we can make it exactly December 15 because there are still motu proprio petitions against certain candidates that have not yet been resolved. So we'll see. We still have 2 more days.
And the PNP is looking at land dispute as a possible motive behind the killing of journalist Jess Malabanan. Patricia Mangune with the report.
Banners calling for justice were draped outside the wake of slain journalist Jesus Malabanan in Calbayog City in Samar. His remains were transferred to his hometown in Pampanga today. Malabanan was shot dead inside his store by riding in tandem suspects last December 8. His family is still having a hard time dealing with the tragedy.
Humingi kami ng hustisya dahil talaga namin matanggap. Sana matulungan kami na mabigyan hustisya yung tito namin.
Many of those who visited his wake were people he helped to get legal aid against land grabbers. The PNP Special Investigation Task Group Malabanan is now looking into the angle of land dispute as a possible motive behind the killing. They also now have a person of interest who might be the key to solving the case.
Is the work of Jess Malabanan connected to the land dispute? Yun ang kanilang titingnang mabuti kung yung kanyang kind of work has something to do with the case where he was involved.
PNP Chief General Leonardo Carlos has condemned the killing and vows to be thorough in their investigation. For News 5, Patricia Mangune, we are One News.
Farmers in Benguet are waking up extra early to water their crops as part of measures to avoid frost this amihan. Jenny Dongon with the full story.
Andap or frost has affected crops in Atok, Benguet for the 3rd straight day this month due to low temperatures ranging from 6 to 7 degrees Celsius. Blocks of ice covering leaves and flowers welcomed farmers every morning.
Doon po sa may gutter, naipon po yung tubig doon. Then doon po na frost yung tubig doon sa may gutter lang po. Yung tanim namin, hindi naman po siya naapektuhan kasi na-greenhouse na rin po kami. Actually, pag frost lang po dito 2 hours lang po siya eh. Start ng 5 ng umaga, tapos 7 wala na po siya, natunaw na. Huwag lang po mag-araw-araw.
Kasi?
Maapektuhan din po yung tanim nila sa labas.
Despite this, no damage to crops has been reported so far. The annual weather phenomenon brought by the prevailing northeast monsoon is expected to last under February. However, farmers fear that a prolonged instance of frost will destroy their crops. To prevent this, farmers have started watering their frost cover produced before dawn.
Prepared talaga. Talagang before kaming mag-plant kasi alam na namin yung time ng frost. Kaya alam na namin yung tinatanim sa frost area.
During this season, farmers avoid planting crops like potatoes and leafy vegetables. But they assure the public that all other vegetables being sold remain to be high quality. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, we are One News.
The Health Department reports 360 new COVID-19 cases on Monday. This is the fourth straight day of new infections coming in below 500. 11,000 of the 2.83 million total caseload are still active. 60 people died of the virus in the last 24 hours, bringing the death toll to 50,300. 49 cases previously tagged as recoveries have been reclassified as deaths after validation. Total recoveries are now at 2.77 million after more than 500 new survivors overnight. The DOH said 147 cases were removed from the active case count and reclassified as recoveries. 1.1% of the 35,800 tests included in today's bulletin yielded positive results. Let's take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Health Department and the National Task Force assures enough supplies of syringes for vaccination. The agency said that around 52 million syringes have already been procured through UNICEF. This comes after claims from Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin that the Philippines dropped the ball yet again in securing an offer of 50 million syringes. The Commission on Higher Education has allowed the resumption of collegiate athletic training. CHED Chairman Popoy De Vera said guidelines for the training are generally the same with the protocols for face-to-face classes. Both the UAAP and the NCAA are targeting to restart games by March next year. And India's Harnaa Sandhu wins this year's Miss Universe. Sandhu bested 79 other candidates in the pageant to take home India's third Miss Universe crown. Miss Philippines Beatriz Luigi Gomez settled for a top 5 finish after failing to enter the top 3. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.